Hi, let me. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Late Night with Scotty P. I am not even sure we are getting all of this out in a proper manner, but we will continue to attempt what I'm attempting for the moment that I'm attempting it. Let me go and get my backup working here just a tad bit and see if that will working. Stand by for news. What do we have, John Mayer? A little progress today. Okay, boom, boom, boom. What I'm looking for is a four-leaf clover. Well, it says I'm live. Let's see what the audio's like. Hey, we're good. We're live. Okay, I can undo that one right now. That's fine. Good. All right. So we are in. We are in like Flynn, like I like to say sometimes. And I was playing on, hey, it's Limitless Lindy. How are you? How am I coming across? Is the vocal good? I've been playing around. I'm going to try something real quick, Limitless, Miss Lindy, if you will bear with me. I picked up. Now, does this modify my voice at all? Are you hearing a little background? And all good here. I'm glad to hear that. What I'm looking for now is a four-leaf clover. Oh, there we go. Now I can hit this, bring that up here. I'm not sure what you are hearing or not. It's all good. Howdy, howdy. Anyway, I have some software I'm doing some funny things with, and I thought I'd attempt it, but maybe I won't. I'm not sure. I think maybe I'll go ahead and put the kibosh on that. Stand by for news as I try to figure out what I'm doing here. I'm not sure. The There we go. Well, we can put this out here, but we'll take that down there. I'm not sure. Am I still coming across okay? I am not sure. Let me hit the button, and we're gonna wait here. I haven't heard any audio. Okay, so that tells me what I want to do. I have this other program on the side that I'm trying to learn how to use, and it's supposed to provide me with an ability to moderate my voice. Hello, Lisa. How are you? And let me go back to here and get rid of that and get that. And I'm glad to see everybody's here. That's good. So talk to me. How's it going down under? I trust that everything is good. I'm going to try one more thing here. Let me stand by for news. Take this output, put it to here. I'm not sure here. I hope I didn't just kill it. Did I kill it? How about we don't do that? Sorry about that. Am I still coming across good? Can you type a one if I'm coming across good? I tried to do something fancy and it didn't work so hot, so I am sorry about that. Okay, I hope I didn't blow everybody's ears out. The sun is out, but still very cold. Well, you're not really into fall yet, right? Yep. So that can be problematic. I have got to figure something out here, and I'm not so sure what it is I'm trying to figure out. Okay, appreciate you. As long as we got good audio. I'm not hearing a splendangly thing. No, I am not. I'm gonna try this one more time. Stand by. What am I trying? What do you think there, Maverick? We won't do that. I don't know what I did. I totally messed up my audio here in the studio. It's what you do. It's what you do, right? Okay. So, I'm not positive. Let's do this. Lynn, hello, Matthew. Hello. Welcome to the late night at Scotty's. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. I called it the gathering. We can call it a lot of things, but here we are once again. Today has been a beautiful day for Wednesday. I hope everybody's been doing well. Has everybody been doing well today? Have we been successful in accomplishing things today? I'm going to have to drink all this water today. I've been getting really parched. My cat is now watching the stream after hearing that sound effect. Oh, see, I was wondering. See, I'm trying to do some different things, and I want to generate my own music, and so I have some software, and I'm not enjoying a lot of success right now. But now I've got my headphones on, I can hear a little bit. Okay, so as I hear things, and now that I have my big dome covered in an even bigger set of headphones here, well, it is what it is, right? All right. Talk to me about some non-scale victories we've had today. You know, we like to lead off with some non-scale victories. Another thing I'd like to talk about tonight. So I've seen two separate topics, or actually one major topic play across many of the channels today, and that topic is truth. And that's always a sticky wicket, right? Hello there, Laura. How are you? Good to see you. So we're going to get to truth here in a minute. But another thing I'd like to talk about today that I think may be important for each one of us. Hey, Susan, how you doing? Good to see you. One of the things I think may be important for all of us is to discuss in conjunction with truth. Hey, Woodster, talk to me. Let us know, how did the giveaway go? What I wanted to ask was a question about what are your hobbies? See, we speak so much about what we are doing here with our dietary changes and maybe with exercise, and we talk about mental clarity, and we talk about many subjects that are near and dear to our hearts. But one of the things I wanted to know was about what are some of the things you do that bring you joy? Laura, you're driving. Well, be very careful. You don't have to put a lot into this when you're driving, okay? We understand that you are busy keeping your eyes on the road. I'm sure the rest of the people there appreciate that as well. But the question I have yet still remains, and we do have, I have severe thunderstorm warnings for my area, so I'm not terribly sure. Thunderstorm warning for our county. Yeah, we'll take a look at the weather while we are zooming around. But the question for me remains that what are some of the hobbies you have? Spelling. Lisa's blessed life is, oh, hi, Susan, Hampton XX. I get it. That's a good one. What are some of the hobbies that you all use? Because we are in this lifestyle change, right? Yep, everybody, hello. Giveaway went good. Okay, let me go throw that up on the screen while I'm trying to multitask. Not my strong suite, right? Let's get over here to this chart here. We'll share our screen, and we're going to do the National Weather Service, of course. And here we go. So what do you got? Giveaway went good. Waiting for a response from the winner. They have 48 hours to respond. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody's checking their email to respond. Respond. Not respawn. We're not in a video game. But yeah, hobbies, making YouTube videos. Yeah. But realize 3D printing, that is so cool. What we're looking at here is the National Weather Service warning chart. Lots of air issues, air quality from Nebraska through Iowa, all the way up into Minnesota. And I would tell you, my bestest buddy from the military, my Forrest Gump, is basically in Omaha region. And so he would attest to the fires of Canada, bringing lots of smoke. We see some weather out in Alaska and dry weather out in Texas. And then this little area right here near the 100-acre woods where I live, in around Huntsville. What are we looking for? From 5 to 8, they were looking for some severe weather. Strong to severe storms are possible for the Tennessee Valley. And Huntsville now has a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll take a looky-loo at that. And we are looking at some thunder, boomer, doomers. And there's the satellite. And there it is right there. We can see it. Oh, my OneDrive's talking to me. I don't care. And yep, we got some thunderstorms coming through right about now to my southwest there. I'm a little bit further north, so I'm going to avoid all of that. Hopefully, I don't get a power outage. If I do, well, we'll lose the stream and we'll just have to recover from that. Yep, there we go. We'll put a little bit of a pretty, we'll put a pretty satellite picture up. And with our satellite picture, we are going to go ahead and pick up a full Aconus, goes east. And we're going to pick up the lightning extent. And this one will allow us to watch the thunder and lightning in our area. There we go. There we go. Here's sunset. It was beautiful. It went by. And there it goes. We're done. All right. So making habit in 3D printing. Woodster. Okay, good. Everybody's good. Hopefully it was still good and we're live. And we can see there's a lot of thunderstorm activity over Cuba, got some over the Dominican Republic and Haiti, right over Gonaïves, where our little church plant is. Then we see some thunderstorms coming into northern Alabama, just passing to the south and to the north, right? We're right in the whole gap there. There's thunderstorms coming through, giving a little bit of much needed rain. Yep. All right, Limitless. I've been teaching myself iMovie. Cool. iMovie is a powerful editing tool. You should have a lot of fun with that. And there you go. And I was teaching myself a little bit of an audio engineering program, and I am struggling with it, but that's okay. I have the rest of my life to figure it out. So, Woodster, let me see. I'm going to try something here. Please stand by for me. Here to go. Oh, I'm not in the studio. Okay. I've got no, okay, comments. Up in Ottawa, Ontario, we have a heat warning. Okay, there you go. In Ottawa, Ontario, see Basmock, so I know what that is. And then are they moving towards South Carolina? Well, you can look right here. This thunderstorm eventually will. You can see that I'll put up another shot because this is not the best shot to take a look at that. Let's go down here to water vapor IR9, mid-level water vapor. And we have 72. Yep, we sure do. So yes, they're coming to South Carolina. But as you can see here, the frontal boundary is just now in north central Alabama, moving to Georgia. So 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning for your area. I don't know that there'll be all that much of a banger because you have a lot of cooling. Yeah, you sure will. So the question, Woodster, talk to me about this whole thing and what I wanted to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and post the link in my chat. And I'm not going to bring everybody in who might go in, so please don't everybody be offended. But I want to do some things this evening that might be a little different than we've done in the past. But here we are. And if you're ready to jump in there, Woodster, let me know. And I'd love to have you come in and give you an audio opportunity to talk to us about your 3D printing hobby. And as we go through these, we'll let each person get an opportunity to talk about their hobbies. Because I think it's really important that we have an opportunity to do such. Like weather is a hobby of mine. It was my job and it was my profession for a number of years. And now it's become a hobby. Upstate, 1 hour south of Greenville. So South Carolina, you're right about in this area here. If you want, what we can do, and I will do it because I'm that guy. Let's go ahead and look up here. And I'm gonna go in this region here. You said Greenville. I'm gonna go right. You said Greenville. 1 hour southwest, 1 hour south and west. We'll go right about here. That's a guess. I could be wrong. Greenville, Spartanburg, 80 degrees, humidity 74%. A wind speed of 7 miles per hour out of the west. The barometer is 29.91, dew point 71. Visibility is unrestricted. Looking into the weather tonight, mostly cloudy, 70. High Thursday, 91 with a 30% chance of showers later in the day. By Thursday night, you'll have some thunderstorms. So looks like Thursday afternoon looks kind of skosh for you, Susan. Thursday, slight chance of showers between 2 and 3, and then a chance of showers, thunderstorms after 3 p.m. Mostly sunny with a high near 91. Ew, that'll be sticky until you get the front. But look at this. It's going to go for a high of Thursday, 91, down to 88 Friday, and 84 on Saturday. That'd be pretty nice, but a chance of thunderstorms. So not so bad for you in the Spartanburg area there. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Everybody take all the time you want. Is actually where I'm at. Greenwood, South Carolina. Well, now that you give me actual Greenwood, I got Greenville, Greenwood. That's okay. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe my calibration's off. I would say that's just going to be a little muggier. 92 down to 88 to 84. Same thunderstorms. Yeah. Looks like you're going to be a pretty nice weekend. Highs only 84, low 64. Somebody's going to be burning wood in your neck of the woods because when you get down to those 60s, it's nice and cool. And if you get up a little bit further, hey there, land war. How you doing, Jeremy? If you get a little further up in elevation, it will cool down even more. Again, if someone needs a weather forecast, let me know because that's what I can do. Let's go. Hello there, Allison. Good to see you. Welcome back to the gang. It's good to see everybody here. Smash the like. Let people know we're here. I think that's the only way they're going to know. Now, again, some of the things we're going to talk about this evening, and let me go ahead and remove this for now. Does anybody have a weather question? Well, look, we'll just make it even smaller. We'll just go to this. Boom, there. Someone comes up with a weather question, I can dial it in. If you're overseas, it might take me a little longer, but I could dial it in as well. But to kick off some things while we're waiting for Woodster to come back. Hello, Terry Journey. Good to see you back again. Good to see you back. Hey, Dawn. Good to see you too. How are you? How you feeling today? I hope everybody's good. I tell you what, some illness and feeling things have been big around the house here. Turns out, I'm not going to try. I'm pretty kind of delicate here, but the missus, she came up with a new mole, and the mole kind of fell off and then started walking. Turns out it was a tick, but we all good now. Anyhow, at suspended. Okay, at suspended. Whoa. What's suspended? Who's suspended? Why are we suspended? Suspense? Suspended? Did I miss something? Okay. Until we get to the chat on that, I want to say tonight, one of the things I want to talk about is, before we get into the heavy stuff of truth, I want to talk about our hobbies. And so I thought I would present to you one of my hobbies. Now, this is a stick. I found it under a log. The log had a baby. It was a stick. Okay. It's like a babinga wood, or I don't know if it's babinga or Amazonian. I think it might be babinga or Amazonian rosewood, right? It chose that name for some. Okay. This is a stick. I know it's hard to make a stick, but I have a stick. Very, very hard wood. Now, not only do I have a stick, I have a piece of sycamore. It's a block of wood. Ooh. Right? Sycamore. All right. I use this as something to hold up my phone and support here. And you've seen some of my artwork. Hello, Mike Shaw. Good to see you. Good to see you. We're talking about hobbies up front. And I see you there, Woodster. Stand by. I'm going to bring you in. But, and you're here. Now, what I want to do, as I give you time to gin up there, is this is one of my hobbies. I like to work with wood. So I made this. This is a spatula I made out of walnut. That's a regular little spatula. You can see it's kind of well used. And it was just out of a plank of wood, and I carved it out. Then one day I made a spoon. This spoon is made out of purple heartwood. Pretty cool. Very solid, very hard. You would not want your mama to beat you with this spoon because you'd be going to the doctor. Just telling you. Then I graduated and I made this ginormous spoon. And it got a nice little bend to it because, when you go into a pot, sometimes you want to be able to scoop. And you go into a pot with a straight spoon, you really can't scoop right. So this is a nice little spoon. Got a pretty big bowl. I would say probably holds in that spoon about maybe a quarter cup of fluid. But this is a great goulash or picking something that has some substance out of it or stirring something strong. It's a nice spoon. Again, another one. You get a lot of velocity with that one. Can you hear that little backside? That would be no bueno. Then I graduated. This is just a little short-handled spoon. No lathe, just hand-carved. And it's made out of cherry wood. And it's light, but it's strong. My wife likes to make cookies and stuff, right? So you need a pretty strong arm, and you don't want that long handle that's skinny because it puts a lot of stress on your wrist. There's a second one I had to make because the first one walked out of my house. Somebody came over and had an event, used my spoon, and it left my house. Lucky enough, my wife knows the people who make them. So there we go. And finally, last but not least, I made this. And if you look at it, it's kind of weird looking, right? But it's another spoon, and it probably has, I don't know, maybe close to a tablespoon of a bowl. But again, it's just a plank of cherry wood, and I think I was talking about last night. Nice and smooth and feels good in the hand, good strength. And the reason I made it was I wanted to be able to reach down into a jar of olives or something, something that's kind of deep in a jar, a narrow neck. So the spoon is fairly small, a little bit bigger than my thumb. And again, it's out of a piece of wood that was in the burn pile. And here's my story on that. I think God saves us. We were meant to be going to the burn pile. And some of us have burn marks. I have a big bowl. I didn't bring it in, but it's on the counter. A big old bowl. It's off kilter. It's got a little bit of damage. But to me, I was destined to burn. And I got singed. And then I was saved. And God would make something useful out of me. So there we are. That was my whole thing there. So that's all I've got for hobbies and stuff. So anyway, take it away there. Talk to us about, I got to put my headphones, I messed up my audio. So talk to us about what's going on in the 3D printing world.
All right. Just confirm everything sound all right here? Okay, I'm just using my phone here, so I want to make sure it was working. I'm pulling up the stream here on my computer above my phone so I can see the chat here. Okay, should be good now. So how familiar are you with 3D printing?
Myself?
Yeah.
I'm understanding somehow XYZ access. You've got a material, maybe it's some type of a resin plastic, heated up, spit out of a nozzle. You may use something like a welding thing. You've got a computer where you got some CAD designs. You use a very specific thing to design it. And yep. I've even seen it done with houses and cement.
Yep. Yeah, that's a real popular video out there with the concrete pouring down in layers.
Right.
Okay, so I would say if we start with the basics, for those of you that don't know, most people probably heard of 3D printing by now, but I don't know exactly how long it's been around. I got my first 3D printer in 2016, I think, and I'm on my second one now. And so what 3D printing is you get this spool. Okay, I got one right here. So this is the brand here of the spool, and you can see it's like a strand. Let me pull it out here. So it's just like it's called filament or plastic. And this comes on the spool, got different colors, different types of plastic, different materials. What it does is the machine, the 3D printer, it pulls in the plastic and it heats it up to a certain temperature. And it lays it down at really small layers of plastic, one layer at a time. And so it's laying it down. It starts on it's called the build plate. And so it's starting from the bottom and does one layer on top of another layer on top of another layer until it gets up to, it builds an object. So I got a bunch of things here I can show you that I've 3D printed. Let me see. I was going to tell you. So the layer height, most of the stuff I print is between 0.2 millimeters and 0.3 millimeters each layer. Let's see. So here we'll start with this. This is most of you recognize here, it's a crescent wrench. This one didn't quite turn out right, but it does function slightly here. And this was all 3D printed in one shot. It's all one piece. So it's not multiple pieces put together. It was printed at one time. It's just obviously this is more for looks or for a desk. What do they call that? Desk piece or whatever. Another thing I have is boomerang. Right. I tried to make boomerangs in high school in the wood shop. Never
Right.
did quite get them to work, but I found a boomerang on the websites where you can get these 3D objects to print for free. And I printed one of those. It works okay. It doesn't quite come back like I thought it would, but I gave it a shot. Now this is one of my favorite ones that I've printed. This was actually on my
Wow.
older machine. And so this is a skull of a bighorn ram sheep. And this one is, see, there's 2 pieces per horn. And then there's the main head, the skull. And then there's I think there's connector pieces in between the horn and the skull here. But I've made a bunch of smaller ones of these, but this one's pretty big. I keep messing up on my camera here.
No, you're good.
There
Hey,
we
there's
go.
a question there. It's about, is this an expensive hobby? Can you put delimiters on, like, it costs this much for the printer I have and this much for the spool,
Yeah. So
and then
most
software cost?
software.
Yeah. So
So
all three
most of
items:
the
software, hardware, and materials.
most of the software in 3D printing is going to be free. It usually either comes with the printer or you'll find a free copy on just on Google.
Okay.
The main ones are called Cura. It's Cura, and the 3D printer I'm using now, it's made by Bamboo Labs. And so when I got into my first printer in 2015 or 16, it was let me think how to explain it. The build area was about, I think, 12 inches by 12 inches.
Okay. The footprint.
Yep, and then it could print 12 inches tall.
So a cube,
And
12 inches.
yep, and that cost I think 450 to get into,
That's
which
not
is
bad.
I'd say that's it's affordable for some people, and then there you can get in I'd say as cheap as about $200 for a really decent machine. It's just the build space will be a little bit smaller.
Right.
But after printing for a couple of years now, what I can tell you is most of the things I print, you don't need a 12 by 12 by 12 build space. So what I've found is if you have, I'd say 8 by 8 by 8, you're going to be able to print most of the things you'd want. So some people, they use 3D printing for what they call cosplay, where you're
Right.
printing like helmets and like armor pieces. I don't have the little piece here. So this was just for fun. This is like a little horn. So it's got the what's this called? I
Cone.
forgot. Yeah,
Oh,
cone
funnel.
goes in there, and then you can put like a piece of plastic in here and blow on it. It makes a horn noise. Got a lot of stuff for kids. This one is a little miniature trebuchet.
Right. So I
It
got a
shoots
question for you.
little balls.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Now, this is me thinking, off the cuff. Okay. So pardon me for my ignorance. Wouldn't it be interesting if you got does it use like a PNG file? What type of file does it use?
Either an STL or a I can't remember the other name. There's a few different ones. They're
Can
3D
you
models.
but now, do you just get them and then you print them, or do you create any of your own in some type of CAD software?
I do both.
Okay, so here's what I'm wondering. Couldn't you possibly design and get something that could be merch for a channel?
Yep. I can print
Just
keychains.
thinking.
I can print. There's a lot. I can design quite a bit of stuff, and it's definitely it's an idea. So anyone needs stuff 3D printed, maybe we can.
Well, I thought that might be interesting because I mean, if I'm not going to show you my desk, but I've got a myriad of things around my desk, and it
Mhm.
would be interesting. Like I carve the spoons, and I today I do some silversmithing,
Okay.
and I was thinking that maybe one of the things if I was going to do merch, right, would be to maybe make small silver crosses. I use 100% silver, no
Mhm.
0.999. And I thought that'd be kind of cool to have a merch thing that you could do. Like you could make a T-bone steak. And someone asked, can you paint that, or can you use colored input?
Yeah. So you can now, depending on the printer, there are some printers that are multicolor printers, so you can actually print multicolor objects. It does take a lot longer, and you do end up wasting plastic in between the purge cycles where it pushes out the plastic. That way, you don't
Right,
mix colors. Or you can just get different colors of plastic. They got all sorts of them.
right.
The other thing is, yes, you can paint them.
Good. So I'm just thinking that'd be an awesome opportunity for you for merch, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you were to do it, so I bet you could print something up that would look, for lack of a better idea, is a wooden nickel,
Uh-huh.
right? And you could put Woodster 72 on there, and you could put your favorite Bible verse under it,
Right.
and you could, make it like how you did the giveaway. You could
Yeah.
just gonna say that. I mean, I don't know that people are going to buy necessarily. I mean, I would even think you could make beads. Can you make a round thing, like a bead?
Yeah, you could, depending on the size. So that's kind of one of the variables or the limitations of 3D printing is the size. You can get down to pretty small objects. It does well, depending on the printer.
Right,
Um, but yeah, you can. So a couple of the things I have here, these are for a buddy of mine at work. He's got a side business where he's got a taco truck,
right,
and his truck is called his last name. It's Matamoros Grilling and Love. And so he's a Christian-based food truck,
right.
and so his main motto is to show love to all the people. So this was a taco keychain I made for him with his symbol on it. It's kind of hard to see there.
No, I can
And
see
then
it. Yeah,
and then he had this coin too, and he picked this gold color. It's a kind of a metallic, shimmery
right.
color, and it has his logo on this side. And then the other one says, "Love your neighbor, get him a taco." He was giving these out so people could get free tacos.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's a project. I designed both of these for him, and then printed them out for him.
Okay, so my brain is firing because in
Yeah.
my years of business development marketing, right?
Hmm.
As a Christian based person, and I'm sure it's probably one of his thoughts, but would it be interesting to print up a number of those, give them to some homeless people, and they could come get a meal, to could redeem it at a time, because I've dealt with homeless, particularly a lot of veterans are homeless,
Hmm.
a lot of homeless people are veterans, and they don't necessarily keep calendars,
Right.
and so it's very, very challenging. But that's very cool. I think great. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. Do you want to see a few more things or?
Oh yeah, by all means, please. Until someone else shows up in the
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
want, what I'm thinking of doing is, just so everybody knows, if you've got a hobby you want to share and talk about it, let me know. I've already posted a link up ahead in the comments, but I can go ahead and post it again, and I'll let you come on, and we're going to talk a little bit about things that matter to us and coincide with what we do. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to show you this next one here. Yeah, and when someone gets in, just let me know and we'll
Yeah, yeah,
interchange here. So this is a carabiner. You can print
yep.
this. It's probably not as strong as a real metal one would be, but that's another object. Okay, let me grab in my box here. A lot of this is just testing stuff out. I like to see how things print on the printer. This is I forgot what movie this is, like Terminator?
Terminator, yeah.
Terminator skull. Just like a little desk piece. It says T800 on the front there. This was for a buddy. I designed these glasses. He has he's got like a man cave, and he's got this boar, like a pig up on the wall, and he wanted these like
Yeah.
glasses printed so he could put them on the pig. So one of the standards for 3D printing is called the Benchy. All right.
Yeah, Da Vinci. Yeah,
There. I kind of see it.
yeah,
My
yeah. Like
lighting's
a
not the
tugboat.
best here. So it's a test piece, right? So this is what
Okay.
everybody who gets a new printer or they're getting into it, they like to run this test print on their printer to see how it prints. So you
Right.
can kind of see like, this plastic, it can actually print in midair, and the fans blowing on it, they actually can cool it in midair. So you get these arches here in the top of that boat.
Ah.
And so there's a lot of different tests here. There's a circle right there in the front of the boat. It's
See
kind of hard to
that?
see
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's flexible material. This is one I was messing with a while ago. It's called TPU, and it's actually flexible. So I was trying to make a bracelet here, but it didn't quite stretch out like I thought it would. So it's pretty rigid.
I bet you would
Um,
be. I bet you could find a cottage business, right?
Cottage
Replacing
business?
a cottage business replacing game pieces
Oh, probably.
like Monopoly, the little
Yeah,
houses or the
people who
hat,
collect
or
it.
yeah, I think, or even doll paraphernalia like hats, because that doll business is a huge business, right?
Yeah.
If you could find the templates, the software, right? You'd probably make a pretty good amount of money. Because I had an uncle, he made all his living by pulling apart old cameras, and he'd separate
Cameras?
all old cameras, old
Oh,
reflex cameras, right?
cameras.
And he would pull apart every piece, and people from all around the world would send him emails going, "I need a sprocket for a certain type of camera for a certain gear," and he'd have it, and he'd charge them shipping and handling, and he'd sell his
Hmm.
little sprocket for 12, 15, $200,
That's
and
crazy.
people were happy to get the little sprocket.
Mm.
Pretty cool
Yeah,
stuff.
people make a good living selling parts and pieces, especially on older equipment that's hard to find and get
Right?
replacements. So this one is a
Uh-oh.
toy. The toy here. I don't know. Is that bad to show it on your stream?
Probably not
Okay.
bueno to show. I'm glad you made the toy reference, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's a toy gun there.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is a puzzle here. It's in the bag here for all the pieces, but it's like a
Oh,
like a solve it puzzle. You got
yeah.
to piece it together just right. Okay, so this is one I've been messing with is vases. You
Oh,
see the
yeah.
shimmer on it?
Uh-huh.
So this is a small one, but you can make big ones, and it has a certain mode or setting in the program called vase mode where it just prints the exterior of the
Hmm.
object.
Now, can you
All right.
hollow that out? Can you actually put a plant in that?
Yeah. So this one is where's my
Oh,
camera?
okay. Well,
This
this is what
one,
I'm thinking. Everybody loves those little succulents.
yep.
Yeah, and they grow on nothing, and you put one drop of water every other year or something, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool design to use to do that. People make a lot of money with that.
So Scott, if you can pull up your browser and go to thingiverse.com, and you can just kind of look at some objects there while I'm grabbing some more here.
Okay. Oh, hang on, buddy. Tell me that. What do you call it?
It's called Thing, like THINGIVERSE. Thingiverse.
Okay. Thingiverse.com. I got it. Okay, I got it. All right, and then what I'll do is I'm going to remove that. Hold on. Okay, remove that. Okay. Now I got the wrong one, so let's go here. Stop screen, present screen, share screen, new screen. There's a lot of buttons to push here, people. I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, Lon. There you can see all these different things that can be printed. A wind vane. Oh, that's some cool stuff. All right.
Yeah, so
Tools.
speaking of your succulent things, this is kind of a pot. It's like a
Yeah,
succulent pot. You
yeah.
can see the design on there, maybe.
Yep, I see that.
Phone cases, messed with those a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I got a really cool one I got to show you.
Okay.
This is one of the coolest ones I've seen, but I'm going to have to move my camera here. So let's start with,
Hey, Lawnmower, while
this.
he's getting that together, I want to go back to Lawnmowers. If we got a graphic artist out there, you have an idea for a T-shirt, but needs an artist to help him come up with a design. So if anybody's out there's an artist, let Lawnmower know. Jeremy could use a hand up. Carnivore today. There you go. Thing verse quite often. All right. Go ahead
Here,
there,
I'm gonna
boss.
flip this around here real quick. So this is called a lithopane, okay?
All right.
And same thing, it prints in layers all the way up, and you insert a picture. And once you put a light behind it, you can see it there.
Okay, hang on just a minute. I got to go like that. Does that help, Lawnmower?
Where am I at here? Oh, too far. There we go.
Okay. Oh, I see it. You got a puppy, a dog.
That's when my dog was a puppy there. And so the way it looks when it's not in the light is just a piece of plastic. Just a plain.
Oh, yeah.
I got one more here. This is of the mountains in Wyoming here. If you can see, it's a lake in a bowl in between the mountains.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, Lawnmower, did I get that right? I don't know if I've got a big enough picture there. I don't know how to do a full screen on the other guy. Someone help me. In the absence of any comment, I guess we've done okay.
Yeah, so someone said painting, if you could paint them. These are shower rings I made. I designed them and made them for a shower curtain, just kind of messing around, and I painted them different colors. I put the clear coat stuff on it so it was sealed. That's one thing there. A duck call, I was playing with that a little bit. Has some ducks on it.
Right.
Well, that's about it.
All right. Well, now, how long you been doing this?
So, got my first printer in 2015 or 2016. And the one I have now, I got it, I think, around a year ago at the most.
All right. So now,
what was one of the other questions you had?
What drove you into deciding 3D printing was going to be what you're going to do?
Well, I enjoy creating things and designing things and tinkering. Like I was telling you the other night, I do a lot of woodworking stuff, like doing stuff with my hands. I just like designing stuff and problem solving, I guess.
All right, that's very cool. That's very cool.
So yeah, $200 to $400 is probably your entry level for a decent printer. The spools of plastic, they are anywhere from $22 to $30 for a spool, and that's 1 kilogram. Was that 2.2 pounds?
Yeah, 2.2 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let me think of an example here. So these coins I was telling you about earlier, that I was printing for my buddy. I think I could print a couple hundred of these with one spool for sure, like probably 200 or 300. So it goes a long ways. It's pretty affordable. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, Lindy is saying that maybe one day you could do a video, and if you got a camera, of course, maybe you could do a time lapse video or so, do something where you can speed it up, and we can watch it just spit out the pieces.
Yeah, I could do that. This printer has a built-in time lapse thing, and it actually makes the file right on the camera because it has a built-in camera. That way you can monitor it from like work or if you're out of the house.
Right.
This is a spin-up car here with gears.
Yeah.
A little more technical.
Yeah.
Cool.
It'd be cool. I wonder now, do they have, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure. Do they have some that can use metallic inputs?
Yes, they have I think it's like a mixture, has metal particles in it.
Right.
Or there's carbon fiber, and there's all sorts of different types of plastic. Like I said, flexible. The standard, the cheapest stuff is called PLA. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's pretty basic. It's the cheapest to print with.
Polymetric laminating adhesive, but it's something like that. I don't know. I made it up.
I don't know if that one's quite right, but poly something.
Yeah. Well, I know that most of my crowns were made by a cubic zirconia in a 3D printer at the lab.
Yeah, the dentist offices are using these now.
Yeah.
My wife, she actually was working at one before she was staying at home, and they started making a lot of their stuff on their 3D printers.
Right. Now, I was thinking about, someone was talking about medical implants. I know they use them for medical implants. You got much bigger and more things, and that's very cool. But I just like to think about things that you can make and do. And I was thinking about a music box, because you know how you had the gear
like a wind-up one.
Yeah, because we had a friend who she's still under treatment for leukemia,
Hmm.
and her leukemia attacked her eyes, and now she's legally blind.
Okay.
And she's a very strong believer, and
Hmm.
she's having to use a lot of auditory thing, but there's a lot of learning curve. And so one of the things that my wife wanted to do was get her a music box so it could be wound up. She could just hear something soothing,
Right.
kind of relaxing. But there's not as many music boxes out there as you might think.
Yeah, it's not something you see around very often anymore.
Yeah, so I
See
just
those globes,
right, and
snow
then
globes.
you think about Lioness Hiker.
Hmm.
She has some visual things, and so sometimes you want to listen to get some auditory or maybe something that's a sensory that you can do. But anyway, that's really cool, there, brother.
Yeah, I see. Limitless Lindy was asking how long one of those coins would take.
Right.
Let me see if I can find it here in my file. Let's see. I was just going to put it in the program here. I got it open, and then I could tell her. Um, it's around here somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. Let's try this one. 2 sides. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Maybe I can show you this real quick. You see how it looks.
All
So
right.
if you can see the program here, and try to hold it
Uh-huh.
steady. So I just dropped the coin. This is the same exact coin into the program here. Can you see it all right?
Yes.
Okay. And so what I would do is on the left side of my screen here, you can adjust all the settings like the wall thicknesses and how much plastic and temperatures and all that. And then what you do is you hit slice. And so it's taking the object and it's slicing it into little layers, one from the bottom all the way up to the top. And then it gives you a total time. Gives you a time, how much plastic, and the cost of it based off of this plastic. So you can
Okay,
input
so it
your.
know it already
Oh,
knows the size, it knows the volume, it knows the inputs.
yep.
So therefore, it's kind of like almost like an MRI, if you would.
Yeah. Multiple layers. Yep. So this one says it would take 6 grams, and I believe those spools are 1,000 grams.
Okay.
So I think that put it around 180 coins or so, something like that.
Okay.
And the cost was 15 cents for the coin. And then it tells you how long it's going to take to prepare the printer, and the total time would be about 30 minutes. And so when I was making these, I just put multiple of them on here,
Yeah.
and then you just print them all at once.
So now, when you get to this, now there's a very fine line between a hobby and a business, right?
Yeah.
So, what is your rule of thumb if you were going to try to be profitable? How would you measure profit, or what would your ROI be at? Those types of things. What's your production run supposed to be at? That's very cool, by the way. What do you think it would cost if you weren't making it for a friend to make it worth your while to make 100 of those coins? How would you go about figuring that out?
I'd probably base it off the time the printer's going to be running,
Right?
and then the time I put into whether I'm designing the object or not.
Right?
Um, that's probably. I mean, I've never really priced it out that much. Usually, I make stuff for my one. I got one friend that was always wanting different things made, but I haven't really done a lot of like priced out jobs, I guess. So this was
Well,
something I made. We do a little UFC competition at work. We just
right.
predict who's going to win fights and how they're going to win. So I designed this trophy for the winner there and printed that out and gave that to him. It's something
Well,
neat. You can be real creative. So
yeah. Well, I was just going to say, what I've learned through my years of business is your minimum going in position is 3 times your material cost. So
so
if your
the
material
price you
cost is a
charge.
dime, yeah, you always like if you're going to get let's say you're going to get something built at your house. Everything at the house either starts at 2,500. You go 2,500, 5,000, or 10,000. right?
Mhm.
So if you divide that by 3, about a third of that was your material cost, a third of that's going to be your labor cost, the
Okay.
other third is going to be your overhead and profit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
That's kind of a rule of thumb. So when I owned an ice cream store, if the ice cream costs me 25 cents for a scoop, I'm charging 75 cents minimum for that, right? That's what I
Okay.
need to do. So then if you say, hey, I'm gonna go 4 times, I'll charge $1 for a scoop, then you know you've got a little flexibility in there. So I offer that to you if you hadn't already thought of that. Someone comes to you and say, hey, look, I need a quick rough order magnitude. You can just in your head go, hey, it cost me 10 cents a copy. It'd be 40 cents to you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good baseline, I think, to start with.
Yeah. Just
Especially
that's it.
starting out, if you don't have something to start with. See how
Cool.
it turns out once your time's in and your material and
Right.
the design time.
I think that's why sometimes people want to do first article runs, things like that. So then you as the manufacturer get a better hand on it, because I work for a guy who has made a living out of doing odds and ends.
Hmm.
And he has basically something like Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. He
Okay.
started out with just a little bit of tremor. By the time I got there, he's in a robotic chair, But he does stuff all around the world. But that's how he went about it. And I helped him on the government contract side. But he just said, hey, people literally would come into his business with stuff drawn on a napkin, and his
Hmm.
engineers would take it to a prototype, first production, a first run, second run, first production run, very iterative, because he learned that based on what the inputs are and what the availability is and lead time for those things, your cost model is constantly changing. Kind of like when we do carnivore and our body are constantly changing,
Right.
and
Right.
what we did day 1 doesn't necessarily work day 60. I wanted to
Yeah.
bring back carnivore into this somehow or
Yeah.
another. So real quick
Totally.
there, Jeremy, did you want to come on and talk about what you do in video stuff or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I
Mike?
can jump off here so someone else can get
You don't
on.
have to jump off. We'll just make sure that we give everybody an opportunity to do that. I'm gonna catch up on some of these comment, Mike. Church's YouTube. I mean, yep, there you go. Church stuff. There you go. I take the audio, post the podcast. There you go. Yep, I posted a link. So if someone shows up in the green room or whatever the waiting area, then we'll go ahead and we'll do that. But in the meantime, sure, you can jump on. Sure. I appreciate you coming out there and letting us know there, Woodster, because
Yeah.
I think we're so much more than just carnivore, exercise, and mental cases because of what's going on. I think if we could talk more holistically, I think that's a good thing. What do you all think? Light up that chat box, spam with a number or a comment if it's any interest at all that people talk about what is good for their soul.
Yeah, I think eventually I'm gonna have to branch out a little more on my channel. I don't know. It's only been, I think, a little over a month of making some content, but I don't know. I just find it gets very repetitious. You know, I mean,
Yep.
I can say the same thing in every video, which it might be encouraging for some people, but I think like I said, I'm creative. I need to keep on sharing different things or different topics, or like you said, hobbies, different parts of my life. So we'll see what happens
Cool.
going forward.
Well, I think that's great, and I appreciate it, because I think if we were to share more in our video, I mean, I think you could not even, you don't have to make a separate channel. You just say, hey, this is my passion, and go in,
Yeah.
and then if you put the right what do they call it, the right hashtags and stuff for the
Hmm.
SEO, I
Right.
think people will come over. And then what you're going to do, I mean, what do you think the odds are that people who do 3D printing may be people who also would benefit from the carnivore lifestyle?
Yeah. If you can draw them into the video, and maybe you just put the 3D printed object in the thumbnail somewhere, I mean, there's all sorts of different areas of life that you could target an audience with part of your thumbnails and your title. Because as we know, those are two of the most important things to getting people even onto the video to start with. If you have great content, you got to get them on the video.
That's right.
You know?
And I think we build relationships with people by having commonality.
Yeah. Yep. I find it, and something else is I find when I am, talking about something I'm more passionate about, it's easier to talk about, right? So with 3D printing,
Yeah.
I can talk about it for probably a couple of hours here, if we had the time, because I enjoy it and I know a lot about it. But there's other things I'm still learning. I don't feel as comfortable sharing, about different, health aspects right now with carnivore and all that. But very
Well,
interesting.
I think most people would fall into your category, which is saying what I know I'll share, what I'm passionate about I'll share, ad infinitum. But what I don't know is not something I want to put out there because I don't want to be a
Yeah,
fool. I,
I'm.
I
Was gonna say in general. I don't know if I think I said this in one of my earlier videos, but I'm a pretty quiet and shy person in general. So this is out of my. Anytime I'm on here, this is out of my realm. I'm sure it shows a little bit in my videos and even on the live streams. It's not my my favorite thing, but I'm pushing past some of these walls and trying to get better at it. So
well, I think a lot of your, if I could say this, I'm gonna try to be delicate, but I'm not a delicate man.
right,
I think authenticity is what is a calling card in your scenario, because we all have a BS indicator, a little something that clicks off in the background. And
yeah,
I think when you're authentic, then people will respond to that better than um, the, for lack of a better word, politician
yeah,
schmooze thing. So good on you. Stay that way. The hard
yeah,
part is going to see as you get more familiar to not
yeah,
come across as shallow.
yeah. It's hard to trying to stay, where the roots are, right?
Right, right,
It's
right, right,
very
right.
easy to watch other videos or to do some research and figure out, as far as making better content. And you find yourself going down a path that isn't where your roots were and who you are, I guess.
Right. Well, I
So
appreciate it, and thank you for sharing. You can stay on if you want, but hey, Jeremy, why don't you take a couple moments and share with us?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump out there.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. Maybe we'll bring you back in a minute. We'll see. All right, Jeremy, do we have you? Well, while we're waiting for that and waiting for Jeremy, I think that Susan had a great comment here where she said, keep the same channel, add other topics, and your audience will follow you. And I think that's important. Um, Audiences like stockbrokers, people in this world of finance, they don't follow funds, they follow fund managers. All right, so okay, when you come back, Jeremy, we'll bring you back. Okay, buddy. WordPress. Okay, a couple clients and friends. I've tried the old blog thing, but it's not my cup of tea. I'm much better at slinging the verbal repartee than I would be in writing. My weight loss life, I feel when you go on a weight loss, you need to go on a mental. Absolutely, there is no way of escaping that. You just can't. Lindy, you WordPress as well. WordPress is great. All right. Dawn says, I like authentic imperfections best. I get it. I get it. Now, I guess part of the challenge for all of us is dancing between the line of, and maybe dancing isn't a great word, but balancing between the line of professionalism and knowledge base. I mean, if you have, if a doctor came in and they weren't, you know, precise, you might not buy in. But someone like myself, I can sling out a lot of words real quick, and maybe that would give some buy-in. I don't know, but authenticity is very, very difficult. I'm just telling you. You two ladies, hey, Mike, I get it, especially since you've done a lot of video work in the past. And I think that is another thing, but people don't really appreciate the level of effort to. Let me take some of that brightness down. I apologize for that. Um, but people don't really understand what it takes. All right, Jeremy, back and go, buddy.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. You're Lima Charlie, loud and clear, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy.
Sorry, what I was trying to say earlier is my niece is in the next room sleeping, so I'm not going to be talking that loud. But what I was just going to mention, I actually ended up joining my church's AV team back in 20 when the virus hit, and it was funny because I had done about 5 years of being behind a camera at another church in 2005, and it was one of those big professional studio cameras. So that I just had a lot of fun with that. And then they actually had me learn how to edit and also do video switching during the service. So during that time, we had 3 cameras, and so they taught me how to do that. So when I joined with the church that I'm at now, they just had the one camera that was live. So I had to learn how to, zoom in, zoom out, and, just do things that didn't look really intrusive, as far as like, in really quick and then out. And then, I was just playing with it and, just figuring it out. So it was fun. And then when we finally moved back in, after the protocols or whatever were finally lifted, they had me on camera for service, and I just started doing that. And then eventually, when I got upstairs, I knew how to run soundboard. I knew how to do a lot of other things, so I just kind of moved up there and started learning everything that I could. And so I was having a great time with it. And so that's what and I've done video editing in the past. I've learned how to put stuff together for myself. Went in and learned how to do the Adobe suite, so like Premiere Pro and After Effects. And I mean, YouTube is just amazing to as a place to be able to learn all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Because you can just like if I wanted to do like a lower third, like what's here on the screen right now, if I wanted to learn how to have it fly in and have it do something very specific and then fly out, I just go and just look up lower third, and they'll just show you exactly how to build it. They'll tell you exactly what to type, where to put it, how to, and then it was fun doing that.
Yeah, that YouTube, I call it YouTube University, and I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
you can do it for plumbing, woodworking, automotive. I mean, it's an amazing world we live in to garner knowledge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I was actually even working on the video. So I recorded a video earlier today, and the program that I was using just was giving me fits. So once I got off of work, I came home and just finished it up, and so I'm actually getting ready to publish it now. But normally I don't have a lot of issues with stuff like this, and especially now that I have a program that's pretty decent. Now I can start having fun and start putting some different things in there too.
Well, that's really good, because I gotta be honest with you. At our church, everybody was kind of not just church. I mean, even at work, I work for a major defense agency, and everybody's been sent home. Everybody's doing stuff, and everybody's trying to learn on the fly. We're building airplanes as we're flying them, so to speak. And a lot of people had to learn a lot of new skill sets, and people had to learn how to operate cameras and microphones and interface and work through things. Not only that, but I mean, how many of you all have been amazed what I like to call the dearth of email etiquette, where people would sit there and put everybody on blast in the two line. And in the
Right.
military, the first thing you learn is if you put me on the two line, I'm an action officer. If you put me in the CC, it's for my informational use, right?
Right.
And we had people just Wild West act, and so it was really good in a way for this thing to happen. But the idea of the technology, how do I say this? The technology floor for many people was lifted greatly. And like to use your church analogy, Jeremy, I have a wonderful group of people who lead our music ministry and do all this stuff, and we put our stuff out on the web and everything. But our music minister, he said, the one who does all the technical part, he was discussing this. He had an unlimited multi-million-dollar budget at one church, and he said he never once had someone tell him that they came to church or they came to came to Christ because of the technology, right?
Yeah.
Well, we were at church during COVID, and we're running around. A couple guys, I'm one of them, running around with a camera on a gimbal, and he's doing the editing, and we're doing this stuff very, very low budget. And we had people come in and still come in who will tell our pastor, "Oh no, I've been watching for 6 months. I've been watching for a year. I know all your names. I know your doctrine. I've been watching things." And people coming up because they saw the video present. So this guy once, he said, "I had a multi-million-dollar budget and never heard anything. I used a low budget thing and didn't worry about, like I think Dawn was saying, about this super duper professional high end." I was just at Cornerstone Church in Cincinnati, and they had all this stuff, and nothing against the church, but it isn't always about the amount of dollars you spend. It's about the heart you have, the content you have, and that message. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because it's one of those things where it's either, do you want to be what everybody wants, or do you want to use it to where all you're doing is just supporting and coming behind the pastor, the leadership, the church itself? I mean, if you want it to be, oh my gosh, look at what I'm doing. I'm doing all these, I have movable cameras, I have all this stuff, and if that's what your goal is, if that's what your focus is, then that's all that they're going to see. They may not even listen. I mean, there
Yeah.
were times when I would throw out ideas about stuff, and it got maybe thought about and then just shot down. But then when I would think about it, it's like, well, is there really a reason to do that? Or is it just something I've done in the past or I've seen in the past and I just want to mimic it? So,
Well, again, I heard one person in a class I was in. No, it's actually our youth minister. Our youth minister said many times. Now, this isn't nothing isn't all or nothing, right? No panacea, but oftentimes when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else, right? So you may gather people. So in our church, right? We have the opportunity to sing modern music or classical hymnal music, right? Some will say too much of this, some will say too much of the other, and it's always this balance that you try to strike. Because, and I'm always thrown off as when I hear people say, "I would have really enjoyed what was in front of me today, but I saw this one light was out in the ceiling." I'm like,
right.
why is that a driver? So then we send people around making sure lights are all good. And someone said, "Well, the temperature was too cold." Well, 10 people said it was too warm. And eventually you get to a point in where you sit there and say, are we getting so hyper focused on what I would call the nitnoid things that we lost total vision, because when I was in like Haiti, in the schools in Haiti, and they're taught in cinder block, block buildings with maybe a light bulb, or probably not a light bulb, and no fans and chalkboards, and they're learning multiple languages and higher mathematics, arithmetics, geometry, and pre-calculus. And there's none of the creature comforts, not an overhead projector to be found. I
Right.
mean, what have we allowed ourselves to be led to say only when I have these conditions met will I be in an effective position? Does that make
Yeah.
any sense?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Because and you look at, you look at, sometimes you see, some of these mega churches that they're there for the presentation, you know, they're there for, um, well, the glitz, the glamour, and, well, I hate to say it, but the money,
Well, now
you
let's lay that on a bigger, more let's say carnivore centric topic.
hmm
Big food,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
So I wonder at times. I mean, when will we as individuals take back control of our lives in such a manner as to be um, more, for lack of a better word, graceful,
hmm
or maybe more responsible? I mean, yes, a cupcake tastes great. Yes, I want to eat more mashed potatoes,
Right.
but I realize I'm responsible for that and I don't want the consequence. I've seen that and I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
it's the idea of, like, in the Bible, it talks about being seen and not heard. Well, I think sometimes, I think, like with this, it's to be seen and heard. Because you want to do it. You're following it, you're doing it, so you're being seen because people are going to be able to see. But then you got to turn around, you got to use the herd, you got to be able to talk to people about it, and be able to feel strong about what it is that's going on. If you're just kind of guessing, and you're not really sure, and you're not behind it, with yourself 100%, it may not stick. And that's absolutely fine. But the thing is when it, because, I when you finally have that aha moment, when it finally clicks, and you understand that this thing's going to help me, this thing is fixing me, then I think your voice will be a lot louder.
but I mean, you also end up looking then for a community that is in agreement, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well,
And so that's why, and I think that's why a lot of people are really starting to not only do carnivore, but they're also starting to, maybe do a blog, or they're doing stuff where they're on YouTube. They're trying to get their message out. They're trying to tell people as well, like, look, this is working. So that allows us to be able to support one another, from someone like, Carrie at Homestead How, all the way down to someone who's only got maybe, a few subscribers, but their story is what you want to hear.
well, and I think that's great. And then so I got a question for Russ. We'll see Russ is on there, our homesick Buckeye, who last night was quoted to say if he could shoot anyone food out of his little finger, it would be mashed potatoes. Here's my question that maybe Russ could answer, or any one of you, is if when you're in the keto world. I remember when keto was brand new, and I even remember when keto and all that and high protein way back in the 70s, even before Atkins, they had this liquid protein diet. But my question is going to be pretty much like, um, haven't we not all noticed how big food caught on to keto, and now you have all the keto snacks, keto. Nabisco has keto, General Mills has keto. Um, do we foresee that there'll be a carnivore in the future? Because if you do, then what happens to all those voices out in the wilderness? What's the impact to the YouTube community?
I don't know. That's interesting because it I think with keto at least, and how do I say this so it doesn't come across wrong? Um,
Good
I
luck.
don't know. It's kind of like there's still sort of a tie back into the standard American diet kind of thing. I'm not saying that it's carnivore or nothing. That's not what I'm trying to get across. But I think I think people will, at least like, Big Sugar and all these companies probably figure, well, if you're going to do keto, we're going to put out snacks for you just to kind of keep you hooked. But if you're
Right.
going straight carnivore, well, no, no, sorry, we don't believe in that. That's wrong. That's crazy. That's, you're just starving yourself. You're doing all these things to hurt yourself when in actuality it's the complete opposite.
Well, now, okay, but let's look at the idea of beer and alcohol.
Hmm.
Now, beer, we had beer. Then you had those great commercials back in the day, a Miller or light beer versus regular beer, right? Didn't the beer companies just say, "Hey, we'll make a light beer, but you're still hooked on the alcohol, right?"
Yeah.
They did it. They did it with milk. Milk. Now you can have low fat milk when 2% milk is only 1% less than whole milk,
Yeah.
right? You're still getting 66% of the fat. So it's a marketing gimmick that they were able to get through legislative processes. So I don't wonder if someone say, "Hey, carnivore, i.e., we're going to let you eat more meat, but we're still going to like if you buy a turkey or a ham, how much of your turkey or your ham now they have to tell you is injected with water and maybe sugar and stuff." So I think what happens is when they read the tea leaves and the tea leaves tell them they're going to lose market share, then they learn a new way to skirt that stuff. I mean, I'm just taking what's happened in the past and projecting it forward. It may not be accurate, but it's a reality.
Well, yeah, and then they're going to try and find a way of hiding all those ingredients too. I
And
mean,
and
because
and, and like Mike says, they're going to demonize as they already have, but they're going to have a tough time, I think, overall. Because what I find amazing when you listen to the people who talk about the tribal people of Africa, Lindy may be able to talk to some of the people in Australia, the Aboriginal folk. Um, you're not going to tell them, and you're not going to drive them by your fancy marketing or your legislation, because they're going to go out there and they're going to poach themselves an orangutan or somebody was talking about it last night, an iguana, right? I don't know that I eat an iguana, but if you get hungry, you're going to eat just about anything. But
yeah,
I don't believe that the elitist ideal works very well when you get down, because I think we have the great big pyramid of people, right? The mass of people, and you have all these people at the top. But by the time it filters down to the mid level, people are saying, "I'm sorry, but no." Hey, we're going to bring in Russ real quick here. Here we go. Hang on, and you are on joining us now as well, my friend.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, we're good. We're good.
Oh, looks like somebody might have. I just gotta hold on just a second here. I just see where I can
I
stream
hear
this.
you.
Let's see. Yeah, I heard somebody talking about mashed potatoes, so I just
Well, we're we were having some fun. I'm changing the look a little bit. I'm sorry, but we'll go. I don't want to do that either. What can we do that makes it look a little less? There we go. All right. You want kangaroo Thanksgiving? No, we were just talking about all these different things and about food. We first started talking about hobbies, and eventually I want to move to the topic of truth, right? And we're kind of segueing there about truth. And And I guess Jeremy and I were talking about how we lay various aspects of our culture over different silos. And a lot of us don't want to lay it over church, but it also goes over carnivore in that many times we are brought into, for lack of a better word, a lie, right? And and the question is how are we going to, as individuals, protect ourselves, and what happens to our community as right now carnivore is getting a little bit of attention from the food companies, right? But what happens when they take us for real and they say, no, I don't want you to get off of metformin. I don't want you getting off of insulin. I don't want you getting off of all these other uh, downstream effects that are making them billions of dollars.
Well, these are very deep concepts to be talking about at 11 o'clock at night there, Scott. I thought we were talking about mashed potatoes, brother. You guys are much smarter than me. Uh, but, you know, at the end of at the end of the day, it all comes down to the money. Um, it's up to this is my philosophy. It's up to individuals to educate themselves, inform themselves. You can't trust people who are trying to sell you something to tell you the truth. So, whether it's big pharma, big medicine, big agriculture, they're all they're all, uh, profitable enterprises. They care about profits, they care about money. That's what comes first. And so, you just have to educate yourself. You have to be looking for knowledge. You can't just take things for granted. You should criticize everything, be a skeptic of everything. That's my ultimate answer. But directly as it's relates to carnivore, those type of things, um, you know, I think you know the processed food industry it's the same thing. It's uh, packaging. We could take 50 cents worth of sugar and 10 cents worth of corn and put it on a flake and sell it to you for $10 a box. We can package it, store it for years, ship it all over the world, and make a fortune.
Well,
And you know,
when you think
do it.
then you're talking then about personal responsibility. You got to take
Yeah.
responsibility. And the other thing, I mean, when you talk about that, about educating yourself and everything, but where do you think simplification might come in? Because how complex do we make our lives? I mean, people want to go out there and make these. If you go to YouTube right now and you say you want to make a flambe, or you want to, okay, something for the carnivore community, sous vide, right?
Hmm.
So now we're talking about electricity, setting temperature for cooking the meat. We're talking about a vacuum seal. We're talking about these lot of things. I mean, some of us just throw the meat into a heat source and cook it up and eat it, right? So
Yeah.
there are things that there are aspects of it that where we're deriving pleasure, right, from a fuel source. And do we harm ourselves by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get pleasure," or do we fall prey and victim to marketing?
No, there's nothing wrong with pleasure. I mean, what you supposed eating is supposed to be like a root canal? I mean,
No, but no, that's not my point. My point is, are we being selective about what we're doing? Because if you look at commercials, right? You look at commercials. Let me start there. How many times are commercials telling us food is your community, right? I'm not saying it isn't, but the idea is, in my opinion, many times I think people get caught up in the marketing versus the absolute value. So I mean, it's an interplay of things. It's not a spectrum.
hold,
It's not a
hold,
one
hold,
thing.
hold on. Uh, um, um, Celebratory eating is as old as human beings. I mean, I know you're a man of faith. When the prodigal son came home, what did they do?
I get you. I'm following you. I'm tracking with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's his beginning feasts and celebratory eating is as old as mankind, but it's not about that you're eating, it's what you're eating. Now, if you know, now to finish that same train of thought, when the prodigal son came home, they killed a fatted calf.
Amen.
Okay? They didn't eat a birthday cake. They didn't eat ice cream. At least I don't think so. I wasn't there. But if I talk about it on my site in my one of my early My Overweight Life videos, if my parents knew about ketogenic living and metabolic health, when I did something good, which was rare, they would have grilled some steaks instead of taking me for cake and ice cream, or they'd have grilled some chicken, or we'd have had egg salad instead of potato salad, or whatever. I am I'm not against celebratory eating in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not against birthday cake. Do I look like the kind of guy that's against birthday cake? Okay, so but the concept is the bigger picture, and this is how I live my life today, and I don't think it's any different, frankly, in any time. But how I live my life, how I keto, is with an overarching theme of, here's my normal. This is what I want to do 90% of the time. This is my carb number, and this is what I do here and there every once in a while. And I
Right.
understand people have their trust me. After this week on my site, some people have a problem with that. It's oh, you need to be all or nothing. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You can't this, you can't that. No, you can't. I can.
Right.
So that's how I choose to do it. It works for me. I'm happy with my results and all that. So again, to what you're saying, if you're having a feast, you come over to my house, buddy, we're going to eat. But it's going to be what we're eating, not so much why we're eating or that.
See, but you, I think you and I are on the same side of the coin. We may be slightly different vectors on that, but and that's exactly what I'm saying is somewhere along the line, celebratory was made to equal maybe cake or beer as a commonplace, not special, right? I mean, if we go back 150, 200, 300 years, you're not going to find Duncan Hines. You're going to find a regular apple. You're going to find some honey. You might find some sorghum type sugar, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I think you're absolutely right in saying it isn't the celebratory part that's questionable, right?
Yeah,
It's
I mean the Bible, and again, just going. I'm only using the Bible.
ingredients.
I'm
I
only
agree.
using the Bible. I'm only using the Bible because I know you're a Christian man, and I grew up in the church.
Yeah,
But the Bible talks about things being sweet as honey from the honeycomb, or I mean, there's
right.
listen, when the I can't remember who it was, but they talked about the land of milk and honey.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's room for these things, but what's happened in our society and in our diet, in our culture, is it's just become out of whack. It's out of
Yeah.
balance,
Focus. Right.
because it does taste good, it is sweet, but also it's cheap to make, and the profit margins are gigantic.
Wait
On
a minute. Wait. Break. It's cheap to make something sweet. Honey is not cheap. Have you been out there to buy that stuff
no,
lately?
no, I would no, but I switched gears on you a little bit. I went from the Bible to processed foods and that sort of thing.
No,
You
I
know,
caught you though.
yeah, high fructose corn syrup and these things are, it's cheap to make this stuff. Again, you can mass produce it, you can store it
That's
for
right.
years, you make
That's
a
right.
fortune on it, and that's what it's about. And like I said, people like to eat it, and in many cases, we've been told that it's good for us. Okay, Honey Nut Cheerios is a heart healthy food. Okay, if you read the label, if you read the label, okay. I
I
mean,
think they had to take that off.
I don't know. You might be right about that, but it certainly was on there at one
Oh
time.
yeah, I agree.
Like, these are things that we
Smoking was good too for a while.
absolutely. We've been told that fruit. Listen, I don't even like fruit. I've never liked fruit. My favorite fruit is a tomato. Okay, I ate fruit for years because I was told and I thought that I had to have it, to live. I had to have fruit. I had to have vegetables. And, you know, we have a goofball with a question.
Well, hey, okay. What carnivore guy here? Carnivore, is whipping cream in the Bible? Yes.
Hey, I don't know, but I can tell you this: it's nectar of the gods.
Hey, no argument here. So I think what we get to is we understand there are things. Uh, Everything's on a spectrum. Everything's kind of
Absolutely.
relational, and then
Yeah.
and it's buyer beware, and we have a responsibility to understand. There are some things that are very difficult once you get. I think, and I don't know if Lindy is still on with us. I hope she is, but there is a definite how do I say this, a definite case to be made for after a certain point. There's a tipping point with that ghrelin and leptin hormonal imbalance where you are victim to something. It's like in the old days, Coca-Cola had cocaine, right? And
Yeah.
there were drugs that had other drugs like opioids in them, and like the opioid crisis we have. So I am very careful anymore to not castigate or to beat a person down because they may actually, I did not know this before, but they may not actually be capable of just saying, well, that's bad and I can stop, right?
Oh,
So,
listen, are you kidding me? Uh, um, that is an overarching theme of my keto path. I
mhm,
talk about it all the time. I can't cold turkey things. It's not. I don't have it in me to do that. I have to do the opposite of cold turkey, hot turkey. All right. I mean, I just don't do well with big, drastic changes. And
right,
I think it's interesting, and I don't. I have talked to so many people. As a ketogenic evangelist. That's what I think of
right,
myself as. I've talked to so many people who are rip the band-aid off people. And I'm not that guy. I'm not the rip the band-aid off. I'm not the cold turkey. I'm not the let's just do it, cannon run and jump in cannonball guy. I'm not that guy. When I talk to those people, like Adam Lacey's a perfect example, the guy that asked about whipping cream in in the Bible. He's a rip the band-aid off guy, you know, and he's the type of person that has to go all in. I got to throw all the stuff out of my house. I've got to, just go all in right now. I'm going to eat nothing but meat and water. He's a guy that can eat the same thing every day for years on end. I'm totally the opposite. I can't do that. I can't jump all in. I can't eat the same everything every day for years, So it's interesting how our brains, I think there's something that goes hand in hand with that. The type of people who have to do it slowly and methodically and step by step and bit by bit and gradually, I think are just cut from a different cloth than the people that have to rip the band-aid off and just go all in. And that's the moral of the story with my brand of keto. I show it on my site, real life. And there's a little bit of turmoil this week because I, was in that 10% and not
right.
the 90% for the last couple of days. And some people had a problem with it. They felt like I wasn't, I was leading people down the wrong path, or, it's dangerous to tell people that they can bounce back and forth or be in and out. Hey, I'm me. I do it my way, and I think there's lots of people out there like that. I don't think I'm that different. I even talk about like people who, you know, are still you're talking to a guy with a bagel in his hand and you're trying to tell him about ketosis and autophagy and all these fancy things that we talk about in the family. I'm like, dude, the guy's got a bagel in his hand. How about just teaching him what a carbohydrate is?
Well, and I think that what goes in hand with that, not just because you're talking about a guy with a bagel in his hand, and I think that we are all well served. One, that we're different. Obviously, we're different. We're all going to come about the same issue with a different vector. And what I've been trying to, if you want to use the word, uh, um, populate, articulate, evangelize, is where we are today may not be where we are tomorrow. And many times I have found people who will say, because I've always done it this way, this is the only way I know how to do it. Well, it might behoove us to say, who I was a year ago is not who I am today, and maybe a different approach, because we are creatures of habit, right? So it's like that little snowball rolling down the hill. By the time it gets past the halfway point, because it's accreted more mass, and it may move faster through the same than it did before. So the rate of change and the rate of change in our lives, and sometimes we would be well served to reevaluate our habits, right? And to be graceful, to sit there and say, well, maybe I can do this a little different. I take it to the point of maturation of parents. Now, I'm a parent of three, and this is what I've noticed in my short sojourn here on this planet is this. A parent of a brand new child, maybe they're 18 to 20 years old, 24, first child, their binky can't hit the floor without it being sterilized and everything else, right? By that third, fourth, fifth, ninth child, they say, how long the dog had it in its mouth, it's okay, shake it and put it back in the baby's mouth. Because
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you hold to being important in one stage of your life, you realize, maybe a little different. Other things still stand true. Don't run out in traffic. Don't put your hand in the fire, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that I think carnivores and ketovores and people on this journey, they're a little more used to shifting. But you run up to your family's house, you go into Uncle Charlie's house. Uncle Charlie's always known you to be this guy he's known for 10, 15 years. You're 6 months into a new thing. You haven't been there for a major holiday. And Uncle Charlie's going to serve you up some of the best side dishes you've ever set eyes on, right? And you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to just hit up the brisket, right? And you're going to be like, what's up? And you say, well, I'm. If you're smart, you're saying I'm an elimination diet. I'm working on some, but you would say, no, I'm not eating grits anymore. I'm not eating corn anymore. And you look at you like you got two heads, and it won't be offended. So changing our ways as we change, I think it's very important to put that in the discussion, so that we're not pigeonholed.
Well, the beautiful thing about this way of living is it can be wildly successful and individualized.
Yes.
When you go on certain programs, you got to do what they tell you to do. Eat this at this time, eat this at that time, do this, do that, do this, do that. Follow the instructions. They control your portions. I mean, there's 1,000 different things. With our way of living, the best thing about it, in my humble opinion, is the fact that you can have 500 people doing it 500 ways. And that's one of the most appealing things to me. And again, it also depends on why you come to this way of living. There are people
Yes.
who can't tolerate tomato sauce or, salsa or guacamole or sour cream. They have to do it that way. And then there's folks like me who those things are staples of our diet. But back to something you said earlier, I don't really use the terms and the labels unless I'm in the family, because I know that's just kind of how we communicate with each other.
Yes.
I'm a carb number guy. You know this. I've taken my number from 500 to 15. So I don't really, it doesn't matter to me what somebody may think of it. And that's as low as I can get it comfortably now. That may change over time. There was a time when I couldn't comfortably get it under 100. you know? And so my path has been different than some. But I'm on a path now. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm in control of it. And I feel like I've got both hands on the wheel, and I'm steering the ship instead of the ship steering me.
Hey, that's real important.
Yeah, and the other part of it is I know, I know that I can sustain what I'm doing for a lifetime.
Yes,
And that consistency is very important. Um, and that's
because
the thing.
this isn't a typical diet. This is a lifestyle.
Absolutely, it is for me. I mean, for some people, I think maybe it is. I mean, I think there's people who come in and out of it just to lose some weight or things like that. That certainly isn't why I did it. And I am very happy with the progress that I've had. I'm very happy with the life that I have now, and again, I've never wavered. If you watch, you can watch my first video up until the last video. I've not wavered one bit from my life and my philosophy and how I've gone about it. And there are listen. Maybe I'd have lost 100 pounds, instead of 40 if I'd have done it, a different way. But also maybe I wouldn't be doing it at all if
Right.
I'd done a different way because I might have bounced out, and be, you know, back in line at McDonald's.
Well, now, what's to ask a question for you here? What are the
Yeah,
15 or so carbs you typically eat in a day? What
yeah,
constitutes that?
sure. The majority of my carbohydrates come from condiments and sauces. I eat a lot of tomato sauce, salsa, guacamole, sour cream, cream cheese, Alfredo sauce. That's 80% of it. About once a month, I get some vegetables in. I like them. I like eating them. Uh, and it's I slather them in butter. I always have, uh, but now I don't feel guilty doing it. For years I'd slather my vegetables with butter and salt, and I'd feel guilty. Oh, I'm ruining these vegetables with this butter and salt. But now I'd slather them with butter and knock them down. They don't give me any problems. I haven't seen any ill effects whatsoever. And again, I enjoy eating them. I like eating them. So I do. Having said that, even that is different than it used to be. Uh, Probably about a month ago, I used well maybe 2 months ago now. I used to eat lettuce and tomato just about every day. Uh, I don't eat. I haven't had lettuce and tomato. I had lettuce and tomato on a hamburger that I had on Saturday, but other than that, I just stopped eating it. I said, hey, I'm going to try it for a little bit, and I did. Last week, I made some ground beef for, I'm sure it was the first time in my life that I ever made ground beef without onions and peppers. I always have onions and peppers and that in my ground beef. My mother always made it that way. My grandmothers, my aunts. I can't think of a single time in my entire life that I've ever had ground beef without peppers and onions. But I said, hey, I'm not going to do it this time and did it. I have to be honest, I didn't like it as much. I like it much better with the onions and peppers. But hey, I spun the wheel and I'll probably do it again. I don't give it a lot of thought and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. I really don't. That's where I'm at in my evolution. I have my rotation of things I eat. I know what my carb number is, where it's comfortable, where I'm seeing results, where I can sustain it, and my motto: moving, grooving, steadily improving. So that's pretty much how I sum it up. If I do have a short list of things that I want to improve on. I snack a lot. Listen, I do this thing wrong all the way across the board. I don't exercise very much. I snack a lot. I eat all hours of the day and night. And I'm still getting results, still doing well, and I'm very happy with that. I do want to tighten up on some of that stuff, and I will. I don't snack as much as I used to. I've closed my eating window a couple of hours. I'll still continue doing those things, but I want to show people that they can be individual, they can cater it to how it works for them, and they can still get results. They can fall down, they can get back up, they can, keep fighting. As long as you're fighting, you'll be okay.
Well, semi-retired Bob says 1% a day, right? I mean,
Sure.
and so I think a lot of what you said resonates, and we can see in the comments that a lot of people resonate with the onions and whatever. And I've been listening. So this is like day 49 for me. I'm out there. You see me out there. I try to comment and participate. And one of the things I've noticed from people who have been doing, let's say, their way of eating, being cognizant and purposeful and intentional about what they eat, where they fall on the spectrum, it doesn't really matter. Is that the things that you and the behaviors you may have had in months 1 through 6 are only maybe more expansive than what you now have at month 18. And it isn't because you made an intentional choice, like heavy cream. Now,
Mhm.
I love heavy cream. But I have found myself over time saying I'm just doing less of one. It's $6 a quart, and so. But it's just the idea that I think as we are, I don't want to say lenient, responsive. As we are responsive to what our bodies are telling us and doing instinctive eating, right? Then we end up having a change, and it's not because of a dogmatic fundamentalist input, but it's because it's how I feel today. You know?
Sure. Listen, I mean, again, the best thing about this program is individualization, and that you can do it your way, and you can change. Some days my carb number is 0. Monday my number was 0. I'd had a 100 carb Saturday and 100 carb Sunday, and I came back with a 0 carb Monday. And again, we'll be on back on track here. It's not, but I
Averages.
understand everybody can't
Averages.
do that. I understand everybody can't do that. And I'm not advocating what I'm doing. I'm just sharing it. I'm showing what I'm doing,
Right.
because I don't see a lot of that in the space. I don't see people that look like me. A lot of folks, start their channel after they've lost a couple 100 pounds or whatever. I'm putting myself out there now, and that opens me up to scrutiny. I mean, I get that. And that's probably why people don't put themselves out there when they're 500 pounds or whatever, because they don't want the criticism. They don't want the snide comments, or just the attention and the spotlight that way. I'm a comedian at heart. I have no soul. I have the thickest skin alive. So you can't, you're not going to offend me, or hurt my feelings that way. Uh, I'm here for folks who can take some benefit or find something that they can use from watching my life, and that's my overall goal that way.
Well, now, what's this question? What do you think some of the habits are that you've changed around your eating?
Well, that's interesting you should say that, because one of the things I didn't say a minute ago when I said I do everything wrong. Um, I eat the same way now that I've eaten my whole life. I just eat different things.
Okay.
So when I was eating all the wrong foods, I snacked a lot, and I ate all hours of the day and night, and and I didn't exercise much and things of that nature. I've never been one in my entire life. Okay, I've never been a person to exercise for the sake of exercise. Um, I was active. I played sports in high school and stuff like that. Um, but just to wake up in the morning and do jumping jacks, no. I mean, I'd eat apple jacks, but I wouldn't do jumping jacks. But but so I haven't changed much in terms of how I eat, and I know some of that needs to change. But on a typical day, I'm up and active and at 'em 17 hours a day. My typical day is 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., which is why it's not a problem for me at 11 o'clock to be here. I'm just hitting my stride. And
Right.
so I just kind of eat all during that time. And my eating window is daytime and nighttime. It's all that. So I haven't really changed my eating habits very much in terms of when I eat. I've changed it in terms of what I eat. Uh, so that's, you know, And again, I'm not advocating that. You shouldn't snack. You should have a smaller eating window. These are my, hills. These are rivers that I have to cross to move, groove, and steadily improve. And like I said, I'm doing less snacking than I have. Um, I I do eat. My window is a little bit smaller now. It's a couple hours smaller, and I don't know ultimately where it will end. Um, I'm gonna just keep living my life because that's what we have to do. We're not computers. We're not machines.
We're
That
not in competition either.
Yeah, that you can just program to follow a certain set of instructions. We have our own, like I said, demons, our own rivers to cross. And again, I think it's important. I'm not telling anybody to do what I do. I'm not telling the only thing that I tell people is to get their carb number as low as they comfortably can. That's the only thing that I tell people that they should do. I'm just here to show people what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and the results that I'm getting. For some people, the results aren't quick enough. I get that as well. Um, I'm perfectly happy to lose this weight the same way I gained it. That's fine with me. I didn't gain this weight in a year. I don't expect to lose it in a year. Other
Right.
people, want to lose it as fast as they can, and they're willing to torture themselves to do it. I'm not that guy.
Well, I understand that, and I think the important part there is uh, maybe I'm off here a little bit, but I think an important aspect to all this is um, many of us are learning who we are in this journey, but maybe part of us was part of what makes us our who we have become could be trauma, could be any one of a number of things on that spectrum, but the end point is we've all come to a realization, and I say this in a very high level, that we've come to a realization that we are not physically where we want to be, that we can envision ourselves in a better position than what we are. And we have probably tried many diets, we've tried many things, and we just come to a point where we're making a decision to change, and that change is being effectuated, if you would, is being accomplished through a mediation and moderation of our diet. And then along the way, we found out, hey, guess what? It wasn't just my diet, it was my mental outlook. Hey, it wasn't just my diet, my mental outlook, it was how I viewed myself and viewed my relationship with food and my relationship with others. So in all, this is a honest life journey in transformation that starts out maybe in a physical impetus and a physical reason, but it ends up being so much more because we find a community here of people who are doing the same things. We find people who are coming from different backgrounds and using different ways. And we're finding now all of a sudden that our variances within ourselves aren't strange. Our eclectic manners of thinking and rationalizing our world are not wrong. They're not strange. We've just been isolated because of any one of a number of things. You pick any number of things, but in the end, we're in a journey to transform ourselves, and we're finding like-minded people doing that, and so I think that's one thing. Now, I want to really address something that was asked you, if you don't mind me just a minute to go back. Bypass Carnivore said, sorry, Scotty, not sure what your channel is. Well, my channel is Carnivore Scott. I'm just Carnivore Scott, all one word. If you're asking what my title of my channel is and not what my channel is about, if you're asking what my channel is about, it's about what I just said. People who have stumbled upon something in a community where we can share, and hopefully we will, in concert, encourage each other when we're in a valley, and lift each other up to where we could be more on a hilltop and share things. Because what works for me may not work for you, but what works for Russ may be exactly what you need to hear. So that's where we're at with that. So I wanted to pass that on real quick. I just wanted to share.
Yeah, here. I love everybody. I don't have any axe to grind with anybody. I don't have any beef with anybody. We're, all of us are here. We're all individuals. We all have different thoughts. We all, see things different ways, and we have way, way more in common than we have differences. I mean, I tell people all the time, your carb number is 0, mine is 15. I got news for you. Your plate is not much different than mine. I mean, you're talking about 15 carbs over the span of 2 or 3 meals. There's very little difference.
Right. Okay. So to answer this question from what's your benefit change? Okay. So my benefits would be I fit in clothes I couldn't wear a month and a half ago. That's a non-scale victory. My weight, I'm down 20-ish plus pounds. My inflammation is so much better. My energy is so much better. My coordination is better. I think that would probably pretty much encapsulate most of my benefits. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost 40 pounds. I could barely make it to the end of my driveway to take my trash out. I used to take my cell phone with me because I wasn't sure I could make it back to the house. Now I bounce up and down the driveway like I was born to do it. I couldn't stand long enough to shave. I couldn't stand long enough to scramble eggs. Those things are just with 40 pounds of loss, those things have come back. I didn't have health problems before. I felt great before. I feel great now. It's just I was just heavy. That was my only problem. I've never spent a night in the hospital. I've never taken a drug other than antibiotic in my entire life. So I didn't have any of those type of issues. I just was so heavy. I joke about it. I was carrying 2 NFL linebackers and their dog around with me everywhere I went. So uh, those are, my thing has been mostly weight loss and just getting your life back. That's really, the long and short of it that way.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm 61 years old. I've been very, very blessed to run across multiple cultures. I was stationed around the world, been around the world, so to speak, with the military. I've had many, many, many jobs. If you've been on this channel very much at all, I've worn a lot of different hats, and in all of what I have done, this has been one of the most welcoming and genuine and authentic group of people I have ever been around.
Well, there's the reason for that. I think is because we've all been through something. We've all been through. I mean, I'm not going to act like my story is the worst. Like I said, I didn't have a single health issue that I knew of other than being healthy. I've heard stories that are so much worse than mine. People wanting to kill themselves and stuff like that. I mean, I never got that low or felt that bad. But when you get a group of people who've been through something, I mean, who come up the rough side of the mountain and they get through that thing to the other side, they got joy, man.
Oh yeah.
They've got joy. They've got peace. They're happy people. So, that's the common thread that most of us have. There's only a few people in all my travels that I've met who came to this way of living just because they wanted to be healthier or just because they thought it was best. 99.736% of the people I met came here because of pain.
Because you are spot on there, Russ, because like that's what I was saying. I think, when you get to that point when you're on your knees, or maybe you don't even know you're at the point. I'm gonna go like maybe you don't know it. I mean, I think we can be somewhat delusional. Like people always told me, because I'm 6'5", I was wearing my 315 pounds, 320 pounds. Well, okay, that may be true, but here's what I know: my belly was bigger than my inseam, right? And so that's what drove me. It was my belly rubbing on my belt buckle. I have a lot of stuff stuck in my head. I've got a lot of reasons with through children, grandchildren, wives, friends, community, but none of those were enough to say to me, Scott, put down the biscuit, right? And to put it like I go out to breakfast every Wednesday with a group of guys. They're eating biscuits and gravy and grits and the down home Alabama typical breakfast, right? What did I have this morning? An order of sausage and 2 eggs over medium, right? Because that's what, and it's not. I don't think anybody there judged me. They say, "Oh, that's the way he eats," right?
Yeah.
But what's that old saying about? It's not what I think. It's not what you think. But what I think you think. That is our own worst enemy.
Yeah, I've never had that. I don't have that problem, buddy. I've always done it my way. When you're a kid, they call it hard headed, and they try to break you of it. Um, but it was a mixed bag if you ask my dad about that. But I've always done things my way. I'm a very unique individual, um, and I know that, and I understand that about myself. My mind doesn't work like other people's minds work. I do my own thing my way, and this is no different. And I don't care what it is. My channel is different. I'm different. The way I'm doing keto is different. Um, you know, you get to a certain place in your life where you can be comfortably unique and be okay with it. It was kind of tough as a child to be different sometimes, but at
Hey,
this
right? You got it. I'm right there with you.
yeah, at this age, it's it's people. Oh, he's his own man, and he's a leader of us and another. When you're a kid, you're stubborn and hard headed, and you don't listen. You know, so
I got a son like that.
yeah, same way when I was a kid, I was a class clown and the ring leader, and I didn't apply myself, and I didn't take anything seriously. Now, oh, he's so funny. It's all he's got a great sense of humor. I'm at my core the same person I was when I was 11. you
Yeah,
know, I have some wisdom and some judgment now, obviously, but at my core, I'm the same. The same person. But the community is great. I mean, there's always some people who are gonna see things differently. That's part of being on the internet and that kind of stuff. But you're absolutely right. I've had, many, many interactions, both in person and online. And people are positive because, again, they're happy, they're joyous, they are free. I'm free, man. You can't take my joy and my happiness from me, man. My life is so different now, and it's moving in the right direction, and I'm happy about it. So, man, you got
yeah.
to wake up early, early, early in the morning to try to get me in a bad mood.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, you hit on something very important there, and that is freedom from food addictions. The freedom to say, yes, I can, and no, I choose not to. It cannot be overlooked. But I want to point out something. Lisa brings up something very important here. Woodster 72 is so close to 1,000. If we have anybody out there that hasn't gone and found Woodster's channel, I am absolutely positive he would be over the moon, thankful for your going to his site, taking a look, and entrusting him with a follow. I think that would be an absolutely a wonderful thing to help Woodster out there. I just
Yeah,
want to make sure.
I think I'm subscribed. I can't remember there's so many, but he's on my channel, and I think he supports. Hey, there's Trish. It's my girl Trish. What's up, sweetie? I know Trish, and but yeah, the community's great. Everybody supports each other, and we should, because again, what unites us is 1,000 times greater than what divides us, and there's just no reason for anybody to be, upset about anything. We may disagree slightly on little things. Who cares? The message is so much important than any messenger. You know,
Yes,
that's what's important is getting out there with the message. Sometimes people, it's human nature. I understand it, that people get caught up with their clicks and their views and their numbers, and they get some maybe notoriety or they get some popularity, and so sometimes it can change people. I always say, if the light shining inside of you, if the light shining from inside of you is dimmer than light shining on you, then that light's going to blind you. You know.
okay, so I want to interrupt that with a late great breaking thing. Woodster is now at 1,000 subscribers.
There you go, Woodson. That's great, man. I love that. I love
I'm
that.
glad to be there. And you know what, Russ? I use that very same term that you just used. I used that in church this weekend, and I had people floored by the wisdom.
Yeah. No, listen, if the light shining on you is greater than the light shining from within you, that light shining on you will blind you. You'll lose
That's
sight
right.
of important things. There's no doubt about it. B Dog wants to say, we're not singing, B Dog. There's a delay. A lot of people don't realize um, on this. It's not, you're hearing it, but you're not hearing it or seeing it in real time. There's actually like a 3 or 4 second delay in what I hear from what he hears. So that would not work.
Oh well, we'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out someday. We'll maybe put it together.
But that's awesome for Woodster, and I really appreciate. Hey, Keto Vogonian, good to see you in here. A lot of people here. I don't know. Sometimes when I do this, Russ, and I see the multiple channels, like when I watch you guys at the barbecue, and I have if I have each of your tabs up, I have that delay thing going on. But
Yeah.
what I do is I try to monitor it, but I really do try to keep into each one's, because there are different people who follow in different streams. So then I can go and follow other people. You know, I think it really helps
Sure.
out. But
I love
yeah.
that. And I think Keto Voragonian is going to be on next week, if I remember right. I think at our production meeting, I think I saw um, her on the guest list there. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, that is awesome.
We love having people on. We never get tired of hearing the stories and hearing about people's lives and the results they've had. We love hearing it. We want to make the community. We want to make it exactly that. You know, we're light on information, a little heavy on entertainment. You know, we just feel like there's a million places you can go to get scientists and doctors and nutritionists and coaches, but we want to laugh, we want to have fun, we want to hear the uplifting stories, we want to give people a place where they can share their channels, share their triumphs, share their the message in a way that encourages and uplifts people. And so far the show's been very popular. We're glad people like it. And you know, stay
Yeah, well,
tuned.
like tonight I was going and I said, we'll do something a little different. So I was talking about my hobby with wood, and the spoons and the things I do. And Woodster came on and talked about 3D printing, right? And so the idea is we are so much more than our diet. Now it's important,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but you can only talk about these topics so many times before people start tuning you out. But when you start to sit to say the passions people have and the way they like to spend their non-eating hours,
Sure.
I think we get a better connection.
Well, I have a series. If people have followed my channel, it's called Keto Conversations, and I'm starting. I started that series a few weeks ago, and I say there, we are way more than what we eat,
Yep.
and in keto, and my channel really is a lot like that too. It's more in for infotainment. It's more entertainment, but some information too.
Yeah.
But the Keto Conversations is I've had Adam Lacey, Dr. Tony Hampton, Trisha O from Kinberry. I'm going to have Dave Mack. There's some other people that are going to be on that, and we talk a lot more about their personal lives. Of course, we talk about their diet and that stuff too. But Keto Conversation is to get to a little bit more of a personal side of people, as opposed to just what they eat.
Right. And I think that we're all in pretty much lockstep in that uh, the likes and the shares and the particularly comments, are extraordinarily appreciated. But I like this format I've kind of come up to here to have people just dive in, and I'll post the link out there, and I'll let you come in. I mean, I can always remove. I'm not worried about that, but the idea is particularly for people like I was so blessed the other night when Lindy decided to come in and share her story, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we, like you said, we like to see the great big success stories, but I'll throw out a link out there just so people can come in. Maybe they can practice the art so that when they get to a show like yours or a one like Homestead How, they'll have a confidence about what they're doing technology wise and
Oh,
their public speaking, so to speak. Not everybody is gifted like yourself with the gift of gab.
well, well, I have stand-up comedy background. I did stand-up comedy for years, and I've been a performer for much of my life. So yeah, it's not a big thing for me. But yeah, I know I think that's great. And you know, your stream is one of the few late night streams. So it's I'm a night owl, so it works out for me to whenever I'm welcome to pop on for a little bit because I'll be up till probably 2 or 3 o'clock anyway. So
Right, right.
it's not a big deal to pop in for a little bit and say hey and do what I can, of course, to help your channel. You've been a good friend to my channel, a friend to our show, and we want to try to promote you as best we can as well.
Well, I appreciate it. No matter of fact, last night I got the question up to Woodster. So now Woodster popped over 1,000 tonight,
Yeah, I love
and
it.
what I really want to know is, you do actually have the gift of speaking on demand, but it's like you said, Woodster. It's about talking about things you're comfortable and knowledgeable about. Um, the thing I learned when I was in a military school, where they every once in a while they'll send you back to a course that will what they'll do is they'll send you to a course that will how do I say this? I'm trying to be delicate. They'll reinitiate your military bearing, right? And so, what I think that they do there is they give you a chance to, again, learn your military schools and other important military skills and other things. And one of them is public speaking, because if you're going to be a leader in the military, you have to be able to address your troops about things that are tough. So we had this one young man. He showed up, and this guy had all the ribbons and badges to say he was a bad dude. You didn't want to come, you didn't want to get crosswise with him. And like most people who are authentically capable at effectualizing the end of your life, he was very, very laid back.
Yeah.
Well, we get to the part where we have to do public speaking, and the guy is terrified. I mean, like legitimate terrified. He asked me, he says, because, obviously I don't have that problem. And he says to me, he says, what do I do? I don't know how to talk. I can't talk about anything. So I'm looking at all his badges, and what he was very good and experienced at was jumping out of perfectly good airplanes. He was so good at jumping out of airplanes. He had two other countries beside his own, United States, their highest level of parachuting plus special parachuting, like high altitude, high opening, high altitude, low opening, right? This guy was a parachutist beyond compare. So I said to him, I said, Schmitz. And by the way, he was in the movie Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. He was in the Marine platoon they used. But anyway, Schmitz, I said to him, hey, buddy, you obviously know how to fall out of airplanes good. Why don't you talk about that? He was like, seriously? I said, yeah, it's a military skill, blah, blah, blah. You could almost not get that guy off the floor. And he had everybody's attention because he was talking about something he knew. So I highly encourage people, talk about what you know, and you kind of know yourself. So get into an area where you feel comfortable, that you feel you're not going to be taken advantage of, obviously. And I think you'll be surprised how good a public speaker you can be.
Yeah, listen, some people, we all have different gifts. I agree with you. I don't find it difficult to speak from the heart. I don't write anything down. Everything on my channel that you see, I do very little editing. I just turn the camera on and start talking. Even like the Reverend or the any of the other things I do, I just hit it. I just go. People like real. People like authentic. At least most people do. And I tell everybody, man, sing your song, sing it in your style with your voice, your way. And some people will connect with it, some people won't. Some people don't like my style, some people don't connect with me. It's just some people don't like Dr. Barry, some people don't like everybody. There's always somebody that doesn't like everybody. So you can't worry about that. If you throw a party for 100 people and only 60 show up, are you going to party with the 60 that showed up, or are you going to be thinking about the 40 that didn't? You
Right.
know, I mean, that's just kind of how you have to look at it. So, and Lindy, you're welcome if you want to come on the cookout. If you want to tell your story, you can go to the site and we can get you on the show. I don't know if you're familiar with our show. We do the Keto Cookout on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern, and we want people to come on and share their stories. You don't have to have a channel. You don't have to, have lost 1,000,000 pounds. Just come on and tell somebody what keto's done for you and ketogenic living has done for you and how it's helped you. And that's what it's all about. And I got to get you. I think I want to get you on our keto conversation, Scott. If you think you'd like to do that.
Well, I'm out there and about there, and I just threw up this late night with Scotty thing because I looked and saw there weren't a lot of late nights going on, and
Yeah.
I don't expect people to invite a guy on who's only had 20 pounds weight loss, who's only been on it for 30 days, So this is my opportunity to evangelize my skills and talents, and hopefully now, again, like you said, people will say, "Hey, how about you come over and talk on my show, and I'll ask you some questions. You'll give it to me, and we'll like you said. I think you said that the first time you came on here, nobody was bringing you on, and you were letting them know."
That's exactly right. That's why I started my channel, because nobody would put me on theirs. So, but that was good. I'm glad that I did it. I mean, and I thought the same thing. But there are people out there who will look at you and see themselves, or look at you and just identify with the way you communicate it. So that's a big part of it, how you communicate with people. People, there are people who look at me and think I'm too silly, or I don't take it seriously, or people have, man, you should see some of the comments and things that people write. I'm not, pure enough, I guess, for lack of a better word, because I still eat, pizza and hamburgers sometimes. And I do it in a I don't come on and hang my head when I do it, like, oh, I had some pizza yesterday, or oh, I had some ice cream. No, I say, yeah, I did it. I'm living my life. You know, that's this is what it is. I show the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well,
Some folks come on and they never had a bad day. They've never had a down day. They've never eaten anything with a carb in it. I mean, come on, get serious. That's not real life.
well, you say that, and I'm thinking about one, it's authenticity, right? Two, eating is not illegal. It is not immoral as long as it's not gluttony, right? So the thing is why do we hold ourselves to that kind of a standard? And as you know, I was in politics for a while, right? And so one thing I always got, and one thing I always get is, and I think I said something once one night on here is, we tend to want to say politicians are all liars, and we paint with a broad brush and we use absolutes. And people say, well, they're hypocrites and they never stand for anything. I go, wait, if you're a parent, if you've ever worked a job, if you've ever supervised a person, if you've ever actually had a conversation of any consequence with another human being, you've done politics. You just don't want to. You just don't want to call it that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
no,
same thing with eating.
Yeah, no, I listen. Again, I've been so authentic, and one of the things too that I have to understand and realize is sometimes people get introduced to me at different times in different ways. So, you may have a person who doesn't know me, doesn't know my philosophy about ketogenic living, and didn't maybe follow me from day one. And so they see this guy's on there talking about eating a hamburger and he's not even sorry about it. It's like, I don't want to be part of this channel. This guy's a hypocrite. So, everybody hasn't seen my original videos where I talk very specifically about, how I do this and how my approach
Right.
to it is and how I'm trying to show people a little different way. Not that you should do it, but that you can do it, that maybe it's an option for you because it's working for me. Maybe it can work for you. Because I tell you, there are a lot of people that I hear from and see that are torturing themselves to stay on this program. I saw one time, I wasn't on the stream, but I was watching somebody's stream. I can't remember whose it was. And a person sent in a chat, "I'm so tired of eating meat. I don't think I can do it another day. What do I do?" And my my thought was, eat a salad. I mean, get some boiled eggs and some lettuce and tomatoes and knock it down. That's what I would do. But this person was just tortured and like, what do you mean? What do you do? Eat something else. I mean, that's what you do. So it's just like, it's not the end of the world if that's what you need to do to make it. If that's what you got to do to keep this keto mobile on the road, then that's what you got to do.
You're absolutely right.
There's no federal ketogenic authority. There's no carnivore association that's going to kick in your door and drag you out of there for eating a tomato.
Right. And you know what? I could be wrong, and I probably am. But and let the hate begin. You don't have to share everything, right? like
Yeah.
I'm not saying to be a liar, but I think a couple of people here have said, and I know maybe you've said once or twice, some people may say they're puritanical, but we know better, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is, I think the way you're doing things for us is you're saying, hey, do what you got to do to get done to stay on the program, because the program works. Now, if you're a person that cannot deviate, then don't deviate.
Yeah.
If you're a person who can afford to deviate, feel free. The other part about that would be, and I'm just saying this up, know the difference in the group you are in. Like I told the story the other night, a friend of mine was trying to quit smoking. And I was with him and I was helping him, right? But my other buddies weren't. We were all in the military. And he smoked for another 15 or so years after that, right? The idea is, don't be a stumbling block. I know we've heard that in other walks of our lives, maybe, but that applies to everything, right? We should not be people who take any sense of joy from being a stumbling block to anybody else. You can be an encouragement, or you can shut your pie hole. You know what I mean? What did Mama used to say? If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, be aware of your environment.
Well, here's the thing, if you got to torture yourself to do something, you're probably not going to do it very long.
Right.
You're not going to be able to sustain it. If you hate your life, if you hate the food that you're eating, and you wake up every day and dread, I can tell you how that'll work for me. I'll tell you right now, because that, again, I can only speak for me, and I only speak for me. But I'm the kind of person that, unless you lock me in a prison somewhere and shove food through the bottom of the door, I gotta have some variety. If I've got choices, I'm gonna make a different one from time to time. And so, if you're telling me you gotta just eat this meat and water every day and that's it, when I get to the point where I'm tired of looking at this meat and I'm like, I don't want it, that's how I end up at Golden Corral face down in the mashed potatoes. Okay. Okay. That's how it happens.
Well, I think I heard Dr. Ken Berry, who is, he's the 600-pound gorilla, so to speak. He's the Kevin Bacon of all this, right?
Hey,
Is
King Kong
he's
Tito.
Yeah, is he says, and starvation, you're not going to win. You're not going to beat starvation.
And he's also a guy that advocates up to 100 carbs a day, depending on your lifestyle.
Right. And where you're at in your journey.
That's right. That's right. And that's the reason why, he has a big tent. He's like, hey, some people can eat up to 100 carbs a day and still be good. Most of us are going to be less than 50. Many of us are less than 20. And that's exactly right, in my opinion. He's got it exactly right. Now, I follow some other guys. Chafee's my guy. I like Chafee. I like Dr. Hampton. Hampton is more like Dr. Berry. Chafee's a more hardcore carnivore guy. And I can't get there. I don't think I'll ever get there. But I like to listen to him and follow him because I'm, as a ketogenic evangelist, I want to have all the information. I want to be able to talk comfortably with a zero carb person and understand why they're doing that, as well as talk to the 50 or 75 carb person, and to be able to talk about it with people who are uninitiated. So, that's why I follow that. And again, do I think I'll ever get there? No, but I have no problem with it. God bless those folks. I'm not trying to shove a head of lettuce in their, in their face. So,
Well,
um,
I liken it much to a friend of mine who is he had a come to Jesus meeting one night when he was cooking up some meth, and he was a dealer and a user, and his meth lab blew up in his face, and his face was on fire. He hit the ground. He knew his way through his dirty garage all the way back to his room. Got to his bed, laid down in his bed, and he prayed. And he said, "God, if I have my eyes and can see again, I'm yours for life." Right. Well, then he has that crisis moment. The next morning he wakes up and he's hard on the King James Bible. Right. And you know what he couldn't do? He had no flexibility in his life.
yeah.
And so he's with a group of people, and I'm trying to tell these other people who are more flexible, not on their faith, but in how they apply it, right? Well, I was like, you have to understand where the man comes from. Well, I think some people are the same way when they get into any lifestyle change, whether it's in the gym, becoming a runner, a cook. It's all or nothing for them, and I get it. You know what I mean? But for those of us who don't have that that moment of impetus that was so life changing, right? It is important to understand flexibility is the key to air power. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, what's your goal here? I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to win a zero carb contest? Or are you trying to trying to improve your health and your overall health and wellness? You don't have
Right.
to be a carnivore. You don't have to be zero carb to do that. Hey, Mary Bell, love Mary Bell. She's a sweetheart, one of the clubhouse crew there, and great supporter. She supports everything I do. I appreciate that, Mary Bell. Yeah, she's on the West Coast, so it's only 11 o'clock, I guess, her time. But yeah, just good to hear from you. Glad you're doing well. I saw her on the clubhouse call earlier for a little bit, but I wasn't on there very long. But yeah,
Well, we appreciate you coming in too, Maribel. Thank you. Welcome to Scotty's place.
yeah. But yeah, I just again, it's a big tent for me. I don't feel the need to exclude myself from anybody or necessarily, partition myself. As we talked about, I'm a carb number guy. That's what I look at is your overall carb number. And I could care less, whether you get your 20, if your number's 20 and you want to get 20 carbs worth of wine, or you want to get 20 carbs worth of tomatoes and avocados, or you want 20 carbs worth of Snickers bars. If you've got a carb number of 20, you are so far ahead of 99% of the population. I mean, you're doing very well.
Well, I would love to go, by the way, Trish Mickey, over to Clubhouse. I'll be doing more research on that, and I'll be talking with Russ offline. But I think, Russ, you hit it on the head once again. The idea is this is not an all or nothing effort, and you're already ahead of the game. And we without flexibility we will break, and we've already done enough breaking in our lives. Uh, and also, where else do you get to meet up with some really cool people? People who are tolerant, people who are understanding, people who've walked that painful path that you've been on, than in an environment like this. And I just, like I said, I cannot say enough after all my life how wonderful it is to be in a group like this and to find so much more that's in common than like you said that separates us. So good on you. Hey, look, we've been running about 2.5 hours here.
Well, you've
So
been running 2.5 hours. I was gonna say haven't been here quite that long, but yes, I hear you, brother. You got it.
well, look, I did 20 years as a weatherman. I did a couple tours as a politician. I'm actually kind of built for this, but I
Yeah.
want to give other people opportunities. So I really appreciate you.
Hey man, listen, it's no problem at all. Appreciate you having me, and we'll do this from time to time. Like I said, I'm a night owl too, so no big deal for me. I'm up and at 'em this time all the time, so our paths will cross again.
I'm sure we will. And for everybody else who's out there, if you ever have a chance to see me, I just try to do this Monday, maybe Sunday, but mainly Monday through Thursday. And I try not to stomp on anybody else's live. There are more of us doing it, so it's going to happen. But you can always feel free. I throw the link out into the stream, so you don't have to get an email secret squirrel type thing. You can come on in. While we're only 15 to 20 people, we can do that. Obviously, when you got big ones, you can't do that. But I appreciate each one of you who've been in the chat, the people who've come over from a Homesick Buckeyes, a loyal clan, your clubhouse. I appreciate you coming in here. I really hope you all understand that in this stream at this point in time, you are allowed and encouraged to promote your channels. You are encouraged, if you have the opportunity, to go find others and follow them. I mean, like Russ says, big tent, and really appreciate everything you're doing. And Russ, do you got any final closing commentaries or queries?
No, hey, just Homesick Buckeye. It's my channel if you want to come over there if you're not familiar. And Keto Cookout Tuesdays at 9 p.m. It's a live show where we just have fun, we cut up, it's infotaining. And Scott does the after party. He's been doing the after party, the cookout after party after the show on Tuesdays. I think that's awesome, and I will support that from time to time. And I will make sure I shouted you out last week. I don't know if you heard that, but I told people to check you out afterwards. And I talked to Alia, and she said if you do it regularly, that she'll support you from time to time as well. So, it's I think it's kind of a cool thing. I love it. Gives you something to talk about too. You can recap the show.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Laura, I'm glad you got to where you needed to go. I know many times I've turned on something like this while I'm on a drive. So I'm happy that you're well and safe and have arrived alive. And with that, my friends, I hope each one of you have had a great day. I hope that you all have a great night of sleep when you get to sleep, whenever that is, and that tomorrow is a day full of blessings for you. Take care. God bless and good night.
All right. See you later.